Prime Minister Lee Hsien Loong announced the repeal of 377A, and the LGBTQ community were rejoicing at that point in time. How do you think this will go down with the really religious groups, those who want to protect the sanctity of marriage? How do you think this will go down with them?
I think it will be. They've really come out, and said that they were disappointed. But I was honestly surprised when PM actually announced that they're going to repeal the 377A. I mean, looking back, there were so many challenges, and the story that we recently put out really took us along the journey, on how it started, and the long journey. I think about almost 10 years, and 4 court of appeals, processes or challenges. So I think it signifies a growing maturity in society, and I think the government realized that. But what's going to happen next? So you have the churches and then the religious groups saying no, they're disappointed. But I think the other aspect, and what we have been talking about, is there needs to be a greater understanding between both parties, not one party expecting the other party to listen, to give in. So I think we've reached a growth in society where it's about living together and respecting each other views and preferences.
I think being Asian, I think largely majority of us are so spiritual since young. It was imbibed in us via religion. Immaterial of what religion you have, you're supposed to do good, and there's always the pairs in life, the yin and yang, males and females. That's how we were brought up. But there are also changes. The government might be progressive enough to understand and recognize the community, but I think the nation needs to be ready. Ready means they need to embrace changes. I'm not certain if they are ready to embrace the community, but they are there, and we were raised to be kind to everybody, immaterial of their orientation. So I think community at large needs to break away their ego and embrace people the way they are, beyond their sexual preferences. I think that's one. If you are kind, then you need to be kinder. So this is from the big major group. But the community, the LGBT community, also needs to address this correctly, instead of stepping in strong and saying like, this is my right, see, you need to look at us, look at me. But no, you need to tell, I am Adi, this is how you need to see me as a person. Because I believe that's how you need to communicate. Whatever that you do behind closed doors should not be a subject matter in any relationship or any community, right? It should not appear. So first, you need to educate us on how to look at you, on how to come near you, and at the same time, you need to tell us, okay, this is how we can live in harmony.
But friends who are LGBTQ have been friends for a long time. So why is there a need for them to actually tell you, this is how you approach me? But there is no need for that, because you know that person as that person in school. And I've accepted a lot of friends who are in that community.
No, but then again, prejudices are everywhere. I know you as a person. Suddenly I know that you have a criminal record. And like, oh, she used to steal. It's just human being, right? But I know you now, I do not know you then. But prejudices are just everywhere. You need to recognize them correctly. So I don't see a reason why you should like, oh, I'm from the LGBT group. Don't have to tell anyone. You are just a person. Because perception are real. People are just so conformed, and it takes time to undo that. So you need to share with the bigger community on how to undo that conformity and embrace everybody.
I need to throw a spanner in that work.
Yeah.
You see, people don't exist as silos, individuals. They have families, they have loved ones, they have partners. And then when you know a certain person and he introduces his partner, who's a same-sex partner, although he may not say, I am from the LGBTQ community, when he introduces his partner, you already know. You know, he will say, this is my partner, so and so. And then in a way, there's acceptance.
I think yes. I mean, for people who spend a lot of time and know the community very well, but I think why the community has to announce or have to share, it's because they've been marginalized for so long, and I think that's the only way they can say, "Hey guys, please, no, I am who I am." So I think that's why they share, no, who they are. But I think it's again about giving in, being understanding, and so now there is a new norm. You know, after so long, there is an actual recognition to some part. You know, it's only a repeal of a law, but there are other aspects of society, livelihood, government policies that may not change. So, is it a win for the community? Or is it a loss, given that in addition to the 377A being repealed, marriage is now going to be protected in the Constitution? That would mean, if I'm not wrong, it will not change. Same-sex marriages will not be permitted in the near future, given that it is going to be in the Constitution.
I think it will take time, even for the government to just wash up the policies which they currently have. They also need to strike a balance between all Singaporeans per se, right? Especially those who believe in the institution of marriage, right? It will take time. So the repeal comes first, then you need to move one step ahead and say, we want to do this, can you approve this? Then you move to the next step. It cannot all come at one go. I think it will send a shock wave. So it needs to find a balance, I believe. So it will take time, but I do not think it will not happen. That's what I think. We just need time to adjust. So this is the adjusting period. There must be some jagged edges, some teething that you need to work on before you move on to the next step. If you have all at one go, then people will be confused.
Yeah, I think I agree with that, but I was also not taken, but I was also surprised that it is more than just a simple announcement, a simple repeal, or update of the Constitution. Because I mean, the days following the National Day rally, every other government agency, came out and said, "Oh, there is certain things." So, I mean, you have to drill down from housing policy. You have to drill down to media representation. You have to drill down maybe to school. So I think I didn't, and I think a lot of people didn't recognize that it is a whole society that has to be updated.
True.
Or to learn about and to be more understanding. So it's a big thing, no? And I think DPM Lawrence Wong did mention that it is a long journey. You know, and it may not even change during his term as should he get elected as prime minister. So it is a long journey. We already had a long journey to get here, and it's going to be a longer journey to see any significant changes.
I also believe there will be protest or silent protest from religious groups, from religious organizations, those who believe in the marriage institution or the institution of marriage. They go like, this is going to ruin what we have been fighting for since we were born. So those adjustments or those fightings between those parties will always happen. But can someone who is within the community of the LGBTQ plus exercise religion in Singapore? I think they can, right? It should not matter. That's what I think. But of course, some religions say, no, you can't do this. But it's just between you and God. As long as you don't behave ostentatiously, you don't have to tell people. You can be anybody that you want. Whatever you do behind closed doors is just between you and God. That's what I think. That's what I believe, really. What do you think?
What you do behind closed doors is between you and God.
It's like nobody has to know. Nobody has to know whatever
Yeah,
you
it's
do.
it's your privacy.
Yes.
It's in your home, and it doesn't matter actually. You know, I mean, like you may have a same-sex partner at home, but when you are in the general,
Public.
in general population, then you're the lawyer who represents so and so in his case, or you're the doctor who cured my mother, or it does not matter.
Yes, I think it should not matter. The community at large, Singaporeans at large, must learn to understand that we should not judge a person about the things that you don't see. You just see him for his actions. But if you don't see him doing the things that you don't like, then you cannot judge him. You see him as a person. That's it. I think we ourselves have a long way to go to see someone beyond themselves. It's very, very important.
Look, it's in the 60s, 50s and 60s. If you are Chinese and you want to marry your Indian boyfriend, that's frowned upon too. But today it's a dime a dozen, you know. People marry whoever they want to marry. So I guess it's the same principle when it comes to LGBTQ partnerships, because now they are frowned upon. If you go out with your girlfriend, or if you're a man and you go out with your boyfriend, the same frowning happens.
But a lot less, you know. I mean, don't you notice that now society it's different, you know? I mean, yes, you do get some people passing comments and stuff like that, but I think the generation that we have now, the younger generation, and a large older generation, it's very different. I think society has learned, there's greater understanding, and they're more accepting. You know, yeah. So yes, they were frowned upon in the past. So things are so different now, and I think it's all about education. You know, I think education has played a large part, and the peaceful education. You know, I mean, we didn't have two polarized communities fighting, shouting, getting physical. It was a very slow, but I found it very progressive as they continued to educate one another, and I think we have to learn more.
I think one way that the government could do is to have all these family storylines in the mass media to educate people through dramas, through music, through songs, through storytelling. So you immerse them slowly, right? And you see the conflict and see how they overcome it. At the end of the day, it's all about love. It's all about happiness. I think they should learn on how to bring in these characters slowly, subtly, but surely, without being so blatant like that.
True.
I think the
But
media...
it's been a long time since the community has been portrayed as bad and, you know.
It's time to change. It's time to
Yes.
have a proper script writer, storytellers to tell that, you know, it can be kind, it can be nice, it can be good. It doesn't have to be with all bright lights, party, drugs, rock and roll, and die. You know, it doesn't have to be like that. Some people live really a decent life. Just look at the Prime Minister of Luxembourg. He made it right to the top with his partner, and nobody can see much. He made it there. So it is not an impossible thing. I believe if you live in a society where you are being pushed to the corner, move to somewhere where people will embrace you, make it better, then come back and do that change, right? So don't be angry, just be kind. And if you're kind, be kinder. This is for everybody to embrace each other. What if your next door neighbor is of someone of the same sex? Do you kill them? Do you shout at them? Do you ignore them? And when it comes to emergencies, they would be your best person to assist you, right? They
So-
exist, just embrace them.
So what's next after 377A? What's next on the list that we need to seriously look at as a society, and to start making the change, or the education and then the change? So would it be marriage, or do we want to look at, or should we look at policies that, like, we have issues on single parents not having access to certain education or certain grants. So would the next big item or aspect of life be marriage? Because I think with marriage, or recognition of a marriage, everything else will fall into place, because a lot of our policies are based on a union, you know.
But I don't think it will happen now within these current times. They still need to learn and understand a lot more before they can just trickle it down. So we talk about values. When you want to raise a child, what will the child be? What kind of love they will get? Will it be bad? Will it be good? So we can't tell. Even in a so-called a normal family, mommy, daddy still can be broken. Children can still go astray even there is no love. But if you have the LGBTQ who provide so much love, so much care, and the child turned out to be good, then how wrong can it be? But then again, we can't tell, we do not know. Yeah. So everybody wants to have a decent family, someone they can go home to, but it's not going to be easy because society is not ready. The laws are not fully ready for them yet. So yeah, there are still battles they need to go through. But I think people like us, we just need to say, oh, they are there. Say, just be kind and be kinder. They could be your neighbors. The neighbors that would help you, the doctors that would assist you, the nurses that would be helping you, the Grab drivers. It can be anybody.
I'd like, in particular, what you talk about education, where it's all about telling the story, introducing the people, introducing the love. I mean, we saw some comments on social media about the headlines of
Yes.
of how the story, or how the announcement of the repeal of the 378 was handled, and the headlines alone didn't do justice. So I think it's about education. I mean, could be a movie, could be articles, could be an introduction. It's getting to know. And I think definitely I'll be keen, from a home ground perspective, to see how we can facilitate. I mean, we have been working closely with the community, showcasing and introducing them as individuals. And I think definitely we want to expand, and I like your idea about the stories, and all about the love, about
Just
being humans. Yeah.
just cast away our prejudice and see the person as a person, and not anything else beyond their sexual orientation. I think that's something that I am still learning. Like, oh, I should not see you beyond your past. I not see you beyond the physical aspect of it. You are what you are. What you show me is what I would accept you. Like that. I don't have to be so capo and wow, you leave it here. For what? It doesn't benefit you.
The other thing is their challenges. Before the repeal, it was in such a way. After the repeal, will these challenges go away? I don't think so, because the laws have not been catching up. Like, for instance, if same-sex partner, if one should be really sick, the other one can't make the decision. Cannot make the decision whether or not to treat aggressively, to do palliative care, or to pull the plug.
Because there's no recognition of that union.
Yes. And also, if you have a will drafted out by your lawyer, it's still very difficult.
So these are the little intricacies that we need to look at. It's not going to be easy, but I think Singapore will get there. If they really want to embrace everyone, they should look into all these things. So hence the reason why PM Lee said it's going to be a long haul. And I agree with him. Besides the legal aspect of it, the documentation, the government agencies, then there's the people itself. So it's not going to be easy. The government will be challenged by both ends. It will challenge leaderships, but we'll see that Singapore will get more colorful in the next decade or so. That's what I believe.
I really admire everyone that come forward, explain, share, be put down, get up again, try again. I think that's a spirit that really signifies, and I think as a Singaporean, I mean, you should be proud of. You know, you have Singaporeans who have that resilience, that determination. I mean, we all admire our para athletes, our disabled athletes. Why not the queer community that has been fighting, you know, despite the challenges, getting up, falling down, getting up. I think we need to look at it, and I'm happy that we have met many of them, and I think they're really an inspiration. You know,
A win is a win, no matter how small it is. So I take it as the repeal, as a small win, and there's more small wins to come. Then you make it one big win. You don't have to have one big major win, just a small one on a daily basis. So win someone's heart today, win someone's heart tomorrow, and the next 10 years. And I think that's how you go. It's a slow process that will make all of us a better person.
And with that, thank you.